The 2020 Stanley Cup playoffs officially began on Tuesday as the 2014 tournament with 5-game qualification round series and round-robin seeding matchups has moved on to the more recognizable 16-team version. This round includes several matchups where revenge will be on the mind of one team or both for separate reasons. And based on what we saw in the earlier round, no favorite should consider itself safe from a stunning upset. How will these matchups play out? Tonight, we take an in-depth look at each matchup and make our picks for which teams will advance. Hello, friends, and welcome to this very special edition of Strictly Sports. I am your host, Anthony Florio. Honored to be joined, as always, by good old MF Michael Fletcher. Michael Bullock will be coming in late. He has a very special commitment on his end. When he comes in, we will catch him up on what he missed. And then from there, time permitting and show permitting, maybe we will add the Bruins beat to this. Or if not, then MF and Bullock will separate and do the Bruins beat over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95. But there will be a Bruins beat later on this evening. Could be here, or it could be on MF's channel, depending on how long it takes for us to do this. So, without any further ado, let's get into the action here. I'm not going to go in chronological order here. I'm just going to go in the order that I have it in my notes here. So that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to start it off with the Eastern Conference series. And we're going to go in number order. That's how we're going to do it. So the first series we're going to talk about will be the number 1 seed, the Philadelphia Flyers, squaring off against the overall number 12 seed, the Montreal Canadiens, but they reseeded. So Montreal is actually now 8. So let's get into it. What did we learn in the qualification round? The Flyers were the hottest team in the NHL at the pause, tied for the best record from January 8th onward, and picked up right where they left off, running the table in the Eastern Conference round robin. Philly flexed its scoring depth while Carter Hart and Brian Elliott in one appearance looked sharp in net. The 12th-seeded Habs shocked everyone by knocking out the full-strength Pittsburgh Penguins. The easy storyline is that Carey Price stole the series. While Montreal's 32-year-old goaltender was excellent, it was the Canadiens' entire defensive structure that proved the Habs will not be an easy out. Shea Weber is playing the best hockey of his Montreal career. First line, Claude Giroux was held without a point in the qualification round, and Sean Couturier had just 2. Jakub Voracek was not available for the Flyers' final round-robin game, but Joe Farabee plugged in seamlessly, recording a goal. Although it hasn't clicked yet, the Flyers' top line is typically scary good, and Giroux entered this summer with 0.9 points a game in 72 playoff appearances, so expect more from him. Philip Danault joins Couturier as one of the best two-way centers in the league, but he's bumped down for checking line duties as Montreal has trotted out Tomas Tatar, Nick Suzuki, and Brendan Gallagher as its first line. The trio boasts talent, but combined for just 1 goal against Pittsburgh, so Philly gets the advantage there. Forward depth, the Flyers' second line with Kevin Hayes, Travis Konecny, and Scott Laughton has looked especially dominant. You're in good shape when a guy like Nicholas Aube-Kubel on waivers in September can score a pair of goals against reigning Vezina Trophy winner Andrei Vasilevsky of Tampa. Another good sign for Philly, GM Chuck Fletcher did a nice job shoring up center depth. For the Habs, having Danault lower in the lineup can mean matchup nightmares. And Montreal feels great about the way rookie Jesperi Kotkaniemi looks in this tournament. Max Domi as a fourth-line center is not too shabby either. Philly has the advantage there. In defense, Weber, the 34-year-old captain, was a force in the Pittsburgh series. Ben Sherratt, Jeff Petrie, and Weber have been shouldering big workloads this summer. and all three have looked fantastic. As for Philly, if you were previously unaware about how good Ivan Provorov and Travis Sanheim are, this summer is a good introduction. Spoiler, they're very good. And Shane Gostisbehere's reemergence has an offensive threat as a wild card. Though I'm still concerned about his defensive decision-making. Philly sparkled defensively in the round robin, allowing a mere 26 shots a game. I got to call that a draw. Goaltending, I got to give it to Montreal. You're going to hear a lot about 21-year-old Carter Hart during this series, and for good reason. Philly's prize prospect, finally getting playoff experience and has looked great so far. Flyers also boast better goaltending depth as Brian Elliott turned away 16 of 17 shots against the Caps in the round robin. But Hart grew up idolizing Carey Price, and last round proved why the Habs goaltender still tops these player polls every year. Price was sensational against Pittsburgh, leading all goalies in this tournament with a .947 save percentage, with the Penguins controlling the shot share for most of the series. So Montreal has that advantage. Coaching, I got to say it's even. The two coaches went head-to-head. These two coaches went head-to-head in the 2011 Stanley Cup Final. Claude Julien with the Boston Bruins and Alain Vigneault with the Vancouver Canucks. And let's not also forget, Vigneault also took the New York Rangers to the Stanley Cup Final in 2014. Julien put on a masterclass in game planning against Pittsburgh, creating defensive mismatches. You see why Vigneault is a Jack Adams Award candidate this year as he pushes all the right buttons with his group. One small example, trusting rookie Farabee on the top line against the Lightning and being rewarded with a goal. Even. And special teams, I got to give that to Philly. Neither team has scored a power play goal this summer, which is troublesome, but we have more proof of concept with the Flyers, who are around the league average at 20.8% during the regular season. The Habs' man advantage unit is so unproductive, it can often be a liability. The Flyers' penalty kill has been flawless, but they've been shorthanded only 7 times this postseason. The Canadiens allowed 3 power play goals to the Penguins, nothing about which to be ashamed. But more troublesome is that they took 17 penalties through 4 games. And my prediction, I'm going with the Philadelphia Flyers to win this series in 6 games. The Habs showed they have a blueprint for shutting down a talented team. But right now, next to Tampa Bay, no team looks as dangerous right now as Philadelphia. So I got the Philadelphia Flyers winning this series in 6 games. So I'm going to give it now to the Gary Thorne, the Gary Thorne of our panel here, good old MF Michael Fletcher. So Doc, I got Philly in 6. What says you?
Well, Anthony, I must say that I'm kind of feeling like this is going to be a very interesting series, even though I think we all can agree that Philly definitely has been the best team out there, no doubt about it, and they've been playing some great hockey. They dominated in the round robin tournament. We were there to watch all 3 games, and Philly's been unbelievable. So there's no doubt about it. They definitely can win the series and win it pretty handily. The one thing I think is Carey Price. If Price is on his game like he was in the series against Pittsburgh, Philly's going to have a tough time with them. But with the power play, with the finesse and the 5-on-5 play, and I truly believe at the end of the day that I'm with you on this one. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Flyers to win, and I'm going to say 6 games as well. So let's move on.
And we move on to our next series, which will be the number 2 seed, the Tampa Bay Lightning squaring off against the number 9 seed, that's now been bumped up to 7, the Columbus Blue Jackets. MF, as we all know, last year, these two teams met in this very round. Tampa Bay clearly was the heavy favorite to win the Stanley Cup, matching the win record of the 96 Detroit Red Wings when they won 62 games last year. But Columbus swept them 4 in a row. Can they do that again this year, or will Tampa get their revenge?
This is going to be tough because especially after the 2 games we've seen already, I think Columbus is actually more prone. They're ready for this. I just think that they got the weapons, the necessary weapons that they did about a year ago. And going into this, I honestly thought that Carolina was going to win the series like before we got started. And then after what happened in that game, in game 1, with the 5 overtime game and Tampa winning, you're thinking, oh man, is it possible? Could it be that Tampa finally figured it out? Well, unfortunately, the answer is no, because Carolina came right back today and absolutely.
You mean Columbus?
Columbus came right back out of nowhere and dominated the game and got the job done, did what they needed it to do, and took it right to Tampa. So I think Columbus is the more powerful team. I think they're just a lot better. And you cannot. I don't know what it is. John Cooper had a great series. did what he had to do, and then all of a sudden, now here he is again against one of our old friends, John Tortorella, and I think he figured it out. I think he's got this Tampa line figured out, and I'm gonna go with it again. I think this time around, I hate to say it, but I think Tampa is gonna get knocked out again. I think Tampa's going down. So I really got nothing more to say. I think Tampa will get knocked out by the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think it's going to be 2 years in a row. The Jackets will get them, and I'm going to say it's going to go the full 7 this time around. 7 games. Columbus knocks out Tampa. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah. What did we learn in the qualification round? Very simple. The Blue Jackets are giant killers, and they'll get a chance to fully cement their legacy by eliminating the high-powered Lightning for the second straight year. Despite losing Sergei Bobrovsky, Artemi Panarin, and Matt Duchene in free agency, Columbus proved its foundation, propelled by a swarming forecheck, is strong. There is no drop-off in goal from last season, and the Blue Jackets have enough scoring to win games. The most impressive aspect for the Blue Jackets in the qualification round wasn't how they shut down the Toronto Maple Leafs, limiting them to 10 goals to 5 games, including just 3 goals at 5-on-5, but rather how they responded in Game 5 after a colossal meltdown in Game 4. That's championship mettle. The Lightning, meanwhile, played the entire round robin without Steven Stamkos and some of it without Victor Hedman. Though both star players were missed, it's clear GM Julien Brisebois and his predecessor, Steve Yzerman, built the deepest team in the league because they were not missed that much. Tampa Bay's depth, sprinkled with reinforcements added both last summer and at the trade deadline, was on full display. And now the Lightning get a chance to avenge last year's embarrassing first-round sweep against the very team that ousted them. There is no shortage of drama in this series. In the first line, the 2020 postseason has been a coming-out party for Pierre-Luc Dubois, averaging more than 20 minutes a game and scoring a hat trick in Game 3. The number 3 pick of the 2016 draft, his entry-level contract expires this offseason, and he's due for a huge payday. Cam Atkinson, 41 goals 2 seasons ago, just 12 in an injury-shortened 44 games this season, is a fine wingman. But they don't quite compare to Tampa Bay's 1-2 punch of Braden Point and Nikita Kucherov. Andre Palat is also an upgrade at left wing over Alexander Tessier, a young player still getting his feet wet in the NHL. Tampa Bay has that advantage. Forward depth, again, I go with Tampa. A knock on Columbus the past few seasons is that there is not enough depth scoring. Though the Blue Jackets are improving, Gustav Nyquist, 42 points in 70 games this season, was a strong free agent addition, and teenager Liam Foudy's speed and wherewithal to shoot on a bad angle in Game 5, which gave the Jackets a 2-0 lead, earned him a permanent spot in the lineup. And if there's something that stands out about Tampa Bay's roster, it's their forward depth. There are no weak links in the bottom 9. And the group got even stronger as Julien Brisebois added 2 third-liners at the trade deadline, Barclay Goodrow and Blake Coleman. Anthony Cirelli, one of the best two-way forwards in the league, while Tampa Bay also added Stanley Cup winner Patrick Maroon last summer, who gives them some physicality they lacked last season. Advantage Tampa. Defense, I gotta say, I gotta call push here. The Blue Jackets weathered a scare late in the qualification series when Zach Werenski missed the final 10 minutes of Game 4. Werenski was able to return for Game 5, and although Columbus dressed 7 defensemen as a precaution, the 23-year-old looked fine. Werenski and Seth Jones are the best young pairing in the league, and the Blue Jackets rely heavily on them. Jones leads all skaters in this tournament, averaging 29.5 minutes a game. Werenski is at about 26. The bottom 4 is decent, but Columbus' strength is the entire team's defensive buy-in and structure, which can stifle even the highest-paid offenses. We're unsure of the status of Victor Hedman, which is a huge wild card considering Tampa's number 1 D-man is a Norris Trophy nominee this year. The Lightning have more impressive depth and, most importantly, experience behind Hedman than the Blue Jackets have behind their top pair, but not enough to give a clear edge. In goaltending, another draw. Tampa Bay's Andrei Vasilevsky is the reigning Vezina Trophy winner and is up for another this season. After last year's first-round sweep, Vasilevsky said, "I have to do better," and he'll get a chance for revenge this season. Vasilevsky had dominant stretches this season, including a 2-month stretch starting in December, where he went 19-0-2 with a 198 goals against average and a 934 save percentage. Vasilevsky got a decent warm-up in the round robin and gave up only 7 goals on 89 shots, 921 save percentage. In any other series, Vasilevsky would get an obvious edge, but no team is as confident in their goalies right now as Columbus is in Joonas Korpisalo and Elvis Merzlikins, though he is nursing an injury. Korpisalo was sensational against the high-octane Leafs with a 956 save percentage, 145 goals against average, and 2 shutouts in 4 starts. And let's not also forget his record-setting performance in Game 1 of the series. 85 saves? Are you kidding me? Wow. Unbelievable. Coaching edge, I have to give it to Columbus here. John Cooper has led the Lightning to incredible heights in the regular season. He's still trying to get over the playoff hump, and until he does, the advantage will go to John Tortorella. Not only did Tortorella outcoach Cooper in last year's series, but the Columbus boss is coming off a season where the Blue Jackets endured tremendous turnover and terrible injury luck and still came out as a playoff team. And let's not forget, he took the Tampa Bay Lightning to a Stanley Cup championship in 2004 and took the New York Rangers as far as the Eastern Conference Finals in 2012. So he's got big game experience. So I got to give it to Torts on that one. Special teams, I got to go with Tampa. Tampa's power play had only 5 opportunities in round robin play, but they connected on 2 of them. And remember, that's without Steven Stamkos, who has scored 155 power play goals in his career. A third of Stamkos' goals this season came on the man advantage, so he'd be a huge addition here. The Blue Jackets are on the opposite end of the spectrum. They had 14 opportunities against the Leafs, but did not score any power play goals and did allow a shorthanded goal. Both teams have very good penalty kills. As far as who I like in this series, it's very tough. I would not be surprised if Columbus won it again. But I think Tampa is going to pull this one out. I think it's going to go 7 as well, but I got to disagree with you, MF. I got to go Tampa. The Blue Jackets have enough for another upset, but the ultra-motivated Lightning get a chance for revenge. Tampa Bay is more well-rounded than the Maple Leafs and should be able to overcome the absences of Stamkos and or Hedman if necessary. Tampa in 7. Number 3 seed, the Washington Capitals, squaring off against the number 7 overall seed, the New York Islanders. They got bumped up to 6 for a 3-6 matchup. So in the qualification round, the Capitals entered the round robin looking like a team that knew the round robin games were not the actual playoffs. They weren't too clumsy, but the lack of intensity was quite apparent at times. Washington's biggest stars, namely Alexander Ovechkin, were quiet through the 3 warm-up games. A date with their old coach, Barry Trotz, in the next round should wake them up. In the qualification round, the Isles were their typically stingy selves, even going up against a good offensive team in the Florida Panthers. New York allowed only 3 goals at 5-on-5 in 4 games against the Panthers and overall limited Florida to fewer than 2 goals a game. Perhaps most encouraging is that the Isles' offense, which can sometimes be dormant, looked lively as they scored 13 goals in the 4 games. In the first line, I have to give it to the Washington Capitals. The Caps' top line of Ovechkin, Evgeny Kuznetsov, and Tom Wilson, well-oiled machine. They have a little bit of everything: power, creativity, physicality. Ovechkin was held off the score sheet in the round robin, but if he heats up, well, you know what happens. Anders Lee, Matthew Barzal, and Jordan Eberle combined for 3 goals in 4 games against the Panthers, but looked especially strong defensively as they didn't allow a single even-strength goal while on the ice. Eberle is a point-per-game player in 12 playoff appearances for the Isles, after just 2 assists in 13 playoff games with Edmonton. The edge goes to the known commodity, though Washington's top line needs to up its intensity from the round robin. In the forward department, I got to give that to Washington as well. There were lots of positives from the Isles out of the Panthers series. Anthony Beauvillier, 3 goals, 2 assists, and the entire second line added a spark. And the addition of Jean-Gabriel Pageau definitely shores up the center depth. There are too many non-factors in the bottom 6, though, whereas Washington has done a good job rounding out the bottom of its lineup. The fourth line specifically was a bright spot this season. Washington's second line of Jakub Vrana, Nicholas Backstrom, and TJ Oshie could function as a first line for a handful of NHL teams. Defense, that I have to give to the Islanders. Is John Carlson available? That's the big question for the Caps, who are without their Norris Trophy nominee for the entire round robin. He was questionable for Game 1. Washington can manage okay without Carlson. The Caps limited round robin opponents to 26.7 shots a game. and the addition of Brendan Dillon at the trade deadline is impactful, but Washington's blue line does not compare to New York's. The Isles have better depth. Andy Green was a seamless replacement for Johnny Boychuk, who was injured in Game 1 of the Islanders series. They also have a better top pairing now that Adam Pelech has returned from his Achilles tendon injury. Pelech and Ryan Pulock looked good against Florida. Goaltending, I got to give that to the Islanders as well. The Capitals are clearly in ride-or-die mode with Braden Holtby, who becomes an unrestricted free agent this summer. Part of it is necessity. The Caps' preferred backup, Ilya Samsonov, did not travel to the bubble after being injured during the pause, and 24-year-old Vitek Vanacek has zero NHL experience. Although the 30-year-old Holtby had one of his worst statistical seasons, he is still the guy who won the team a Stanley Cup 2 years ago, who can lock in and take over a game when needed. The Isles boast depth, feeling comfortable turning to either Semyon Varlamov or Thomas Greiss. However, Varlamov is the number one right now, with a .932 save percentage and a .177 goals against in 4 starts against Florida. Coaching edge, again, I got to give that to New York. It's not just that Trotz, 1,674 career games coach, 4th most all time, has more experience than Todd Reardon, 151 career games coach, 196th all time. Trotz also has the benefit of having coached the Capitals for 4 years, including to their 2018 Stanley Cup. He knows his opponents inside and out. Special teams, Capitals. The Isles connected on 4 of 16 man advantage opportunities against the Panthers. Not bad, considering that they had the 24th ranked power play this season. Washington's power play did not have its best season, ranking 17th, but trotting out Ovechkin and Ilya Kovalchuk, 404 career power play goals between the two on one unit is scary stuff. The Caps did not allow a power play goal while shorthanded 8 times in the round robin. The Isles allowed 4 in 14 opportunities against Florida. Another tough series to call, but I'm going to take a chance here, and I'm going to call for the upset here. I'm going to say the Islanders are going to win in 7. On paper, the Capitals are the more talented and dangerous team, but the Isles are already in playoff mode, and their defensive structure will stifle Washington, which did not get much out of its stars in round robin play. And that pick's looking good for me because we all saw what happened in Game 1. Islanders fell behind 2-0 early. They score 4 unanswered. They win. So if they can do that in one game, surely they could do it 3 more times. So I think it'll go 7, but I'm going to call for the upset here. I'm going to go with the New York Islanders to win this series in 7 games. So nothing more to say, MF. I mean, like I said, we saw it in Game 1. Washington jumped out 2-0, but then the Isles came out of nowhere, scored 4 straight and won it.
Yeah, but the thing is that I don't believe they can do that 4 times. Like, you can do that in one game, but you know Washington can readjust. They could adjust and they can get back. They could get that loss that loss back. I think they got a little lackadaisical. That's what got them in trouble. They kind of got a little lackadaisical right at the end, and they got burned and they lost the game. And, you know, like you said, it's like an avalanche. Once you get one going, if you can't stop that flow, you know that's going to cause more harm and more trouble than anything else. And sure enough, that's what happened in the game. So, no, I think this is going to be a great a good series, but you got Ovechkin, you got Oshie, you got so many guys who's already got Stanley Cup championship experience. I don't think the Islanders can hang with that. I'm sorry, Anthony. I disagree. I think Washington will bounce back. I think they'll win Game 2, and then they'll go on to win the series in 6 games. So I got Washington knocking out the Islanders in 6. Final series in the East.
Final series in the East, and it's a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference Finals. The number 4 seed, the Boston Bruins, squaring off against the number 6 seed, now bumped up to 5, the Carolina Hurricanes. Game 1 yesterday, the Bruins winning it 4-3 in double overtime, and they currently, I don't have an eye on it right now. I know
they're actually currently tied 2-2 in the second intermission.
2-2 after 2. Oh, gee, I wonder where this is leading.
Uh-oh.
I think we might have another OT game on our hands.
Oh, boy.
I mean, we already had a 5-er, and then we had a twofer.
And the twofer was this game. Yes. Bruins and Hurricanes was 2-for yesterday.
And
but
could we be on our way to another? I don't know. But Boston, Carolina, Eastern Conference Finals rematch. Can the Bruins do it again, or will the Hurricanes get their revenge?
No, I think it's Boston. Boston's just way too good, way too strong. The only thing I would be concerned with the Bruins is their goaltending. Either if it's Yaroslav Halak or Tuukka Rask, and it's Rask in the net tonight. And already Rask has given up 2 goals, and they've been pretty shaky for the most part. But when you got the Boston Bruins, you got so many weapons, and one big weapon is not on the ice tonight, which is David Pastrnak. Pasta's on the bench. Pasta's not playing tonight, unfit to play. I hope that doesn't mean what I think it means. I hope that's not what we're talking here. Hopefully it's just, maybe he just wasn't feeling good, or maybe he's suffering an upper or lower body injury, something that they could just give him rest and be ready for game 3, because they're going to need him if this turns into a long series, which I think it will. So, no, I obviously think that the Boston Bruins are definitely... I don't know if they were just packing it in, not focused, just kind of like, you know what, let's go with the flow and everything else, because Carolina came out firing, and they absolutely whipped the New York Rangers, like 3 straight, right out, and they killed them. Boston lost to Philly, lost to Tampa, lost to Washington, and these 3 games were pretty tight. I mean, Philly got crushed. They got crushed by Philly. Tampa, they got their hearts ripped out. And then as far as Washington goes, they just couldn't put the puck in the net. That was the problem. They played good, but they didn't get anything for it until game 1 yesterday. That was finally when we got to see the President's Trophy winning Bruins show up. Now, I think they could have been taking it easy. They could have been doing a whole bunch of other things. But whatever the case may be, Boston looks like they're definitely on a mission now. Now they're starting to play like the best team out there. I'm going to go with the Boston Bruins to win the series, and I'm going to have them winning in 6. So, nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
I don't know. I mean, I still didn't like what I see. I didn't like what I saw from Boston in the round robins. I didn't. And I saw your Bruins beats with Bullock. And, yeah, you guys were doing a lot of losing recaps. But then again, on behalf of New York Ranger fans everywhere, MF and I, we say thank you, Carolina, because thanks to your sweep of us, we got the number 1 pick in the draft lottery. Lafreniere is coming to the Garden, baby. Let's go. So, and yes, I saw MF's little video the other day. So, yes, sir. So, bigger and better things for us. But anyways, let's get into this. What we learned in the qualification round, the President's Trophy winning Bruins were the only team to hit 100 points in the pandemic pause season and tied the Flyers for the league's best record from January 8th until the pause. But they lost the number 1 seed in the round robin, dropping all the way to 4th after laying a dud in their 3 tune-up matches. Boston had yet to hold a lead this summer. That leads to a less than ideal match against the Hurricanes, who looked dangerous in their qualification series sweep of the New York Rangers. Carolina's top line is buzzing, and its defensive depth is no joke. The Canes were without top defenseman Dougie Hamilton for the entire series, though he's back practicing with the team. Hamilton, who hasn't played since January, should be good to go after Carolina was the only team to earn a week's rest between rounds. In the first line, I got to call that a draw. Boston's top trio of Brad Marchand, Patrice Bergeron, and David Pastrnak, often called the perfection line because, well, they can usually do everything and dominate games. Pastrnak tied Alexander Ovechkin for the goal lead this season, but he and his line mates were scoreless during round-robin play. Bruce Cassidy said, you look at our top line, they've been held off the score sheet, and I believe it's going to be a tough task for Carolina to do that on a consistent basis. I think that those guys will be able to get their game going. It wouldn't be surprising to see Cassidy deploy Bergeron against Sebastian Aho. That's because the 23-year-old Finn is on a tear, along with line mate Andrei Svechnikov. The duo combined for 6 goals and 13 points in 3 games against the Rangers, while Boston has the edge in experience and pedigree. Current events even things out. In the forward depth, I got to give that to Carolina. The Bruins are used to the top line carrying the load offensively, as there's a decent drop-off from there. The The second line struggled to find chemistry in the round robin, though it's encouraging that Jacob DeBrusk scored in the finale against Washington, and Andre Case is back after missing all of training camp in the first week of bubble games. Carolina's bottom 9 forwards were not necessarily more productive than Boston's, but the Canes were more balanced throughout. Adding Vincent Trocheck at the trade deadline was a sneaky good move because it bumps Jordan Staal down to make the third line, along with Warren Fogle and Justin Mr. Game 7 Williams, one to watch. Also keep an eye on rookie Martin Nikas, who had a goal and assist, both at even strength against New York. Defensively, that's another draw. The Hurricanes doubled down on blue line depth at the trade deadline, adding former Ranger Brady Shea, as well as Sammy Vatanen. The qualification round allowed both players to acclimate to their new team. That's especially true of Vatanen, who was injured when he was acquired in February. You cannot understate the impact Hamilton could have, though Jakob Slavin will likely assume number 1 defenseman duties to begin. The Bruins' top 4 of Zdeno Chara, Charlie Coyle, Torrey Krug, and Brandon Carlo is as solid as they come. While the Canes are deeper and have a better third pairing, it's tough to discount Boston's experience. Goaltending, you got to give the edge to Boston. On paper, the Bruins have the obvious edge here. Starter Tuukka Rask entered this summer with 90 games of playoff experience, .927 save percentage, 7 shutouts, and coming off another strong year. Boston feels great about its backup, Yaroslav Halak, who started in 29 of the 70 games this season. Rask and Halak won the William Jennings Trophy for having the fewest combined goals scored on them in the league. The Canes' goaltending duo of Peter Mrazek and James Reimer was a big question mark heading into the postseason, but they overachieved against the Rangers. In the qualification round, the tandem had a 5-on-5 save percentage of .971, a big improvement from the .912 in the regular season. Coaching, I got to give the advantage to Boston. This feels like as good a place as any to mention that this is a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference Finals. The Bruins swept the Canes, who had run out of steam after an emotional knockout of the defending Stanley Cup champion Washington Capitals in the previous round. Even so, Coach Rod Brind'Amour gets great buy-in from his players, and their possession-heavy style can be effective. The nod, though, goes to Cassidy for his experience and because he's a Jack Adams Award nominee for motivating his already accomplished roster to consistent excellence this season, well, the regular season at least. And special teams, the Hurricanes were shorthanded 14 times in 3 games against the Rangers, not good, but allowed just 1 power play goal, and it was a 5-on-3. That's good. Carolina's power play clicked at 14.3% against the Rangers, but the Canes were 22.3% in the regular season. Boston had the league's second-best power play this season, but like much of the offense, it stalled in the round robin, 0 goals. The Bruins also had the third-best penalty kill in the regular season, so it's a draw there. Prediction, again, very tough. Would I be surprised if Boston won the series? Absolutely not. But I think Carolina's going to get the edge here. I got to go with Carolina to win in 7, especially after what they did against the Rangers in that qualification series. The Stanley Cup playoffs are all about momentum swings. Although the Bruins are the more talented and accomplished team on paper, the Canes have looked hungrier and come into this series hot. It might take Boston too long to turn up the intensity after an uninspiring first 2 weeks in the bubble. Carolina in 7, but don't be surprised if Boston wins. Now we go to the Western Conference, and we started off with the number 1 seed in the West, the winner of the Western Conference round robin, the Vegas Golden Knights, squaring off against the number 12 seed, now bumped up to 8, the Chicago Blackhawks, perhaps the most compelling of the Western Series. In the qualification round, there is still some bark left in that old dog from Chicago. The Blackhawks do have some notable young players in their supporting cast, but it was center Jonathan Toews, 7 points, and especially goalie Corey Crawford that led their qualification round upset effort over the Edmonton Oilers. Can the number 12 seed in the West pull off another stunner against the Golden Knights, the top seed in the conference after their 3 round robin wins? First line edge, I got to give it to Vegas. Sometimes all it takes in the playoffs is for one line to catch fire. For Chicago, that line was Toews, flanked by Brandon Saad, and Rookie of the Year finalist Dominik Kubalik in the qualification round, which had a 71.2% goals scored average at 5-on-5 while playing against the Oilers' top offensive lines. If Max Pacioretty is healthy and ready to roll for the Golden Knights after missing the round robin due to injury, the Knights will have the option of playing him and Mark Stone with either Chandler Stevenson, an incredible 71.9% expected goals percentage in the regular season as a trio, or William Karlsson, 68.3% in that same stat. Whoever they choose, that could end up being the best line of the series. I go with Vegas. In the forward depth, again, I go with Vegas. Besides the top line, the Golden Knights can flex considerable depth at forward. Jonathan Marchessault and Riley Smith remain as dynamic offensive duo and skating with Paul Stastny in the round robin. Alex Tuch remains an X factor offensively. He's played with Nick Cousins, an agitating sort, who came over from Montreal at the trade deadline. Ryan Reeves, Tomas Nosek, and William Carrier are valuable depth players. The Blackhawks' best player, Patrick Kane, played with usual line mates Alex Nylander and Dylan Strome, but also saw time with a couple of young, more explosive players, Alex Dimberkat and 19-year-old rookie Kirby Dach. David Kampf, Matthew Highmore, and Ryan Carpenter gave the team some grit down the line, so I have to give the edge to Vegas there. Defensively, Jonathan Toews rightfully sang the praises of Duncan Keith in the Edmonton series, as the 36-year-old defenseman played 25 minutes and 36 seconds a game and had a 60.75% expected goals percentage. Skating with 19-year-old Adam Bachfist, Calvin DeHaan, and Connor Murphy made for an effective pairing, while veteran Olli Mata and Slater Kokakek filled out the group. For the Knights, trade deadline coup, Alec Martinez and Shea Theodore are trying to find the groove they had to end the regular season. Braden McNabb and Nate Schmidt have been their most reliable pairing this season. Nick Holden and Zach Whitecloud fill out the group. Veterans Derek Engelland and John Merrill are in reserve. So it's a draw in that regard. In goaltending, I got to go with Vegas again. Without question, the most intriguing storyline of the series is the possibility that Robin Lehner faces the team that traded him at the deadline. The Blackhawks obviously didn't know they'd be in the postseason when they made the deal, but they did know they were out of the Lehner business by trading him. So there's a level of revenge here. Neither he nor Marc-Andre Fleury were all that good in the qualification round, but remain a formidable tandem. Crawford got better as the series went on for Chicago after having his training interrupted by a COVID-19 diagnosis in July, but he's still probably the third best goalie in this series. Coaching, again, that goes to Vegas. Peter DeBoer had a wild ride this season. He was fired by the San Jose Sharks and then hired by the team whose fans and players loathed him to replace the popular Gerard Gallant. DeBoer is famous for getting instant results from his teams and went 15-5-2 after taking over, with 2 trips to the Stanley Cup final with New Jersey in 2012 and San Jose in 2016. He has a wealth more experience than Jeremy Colleton, but the Blackhawks coach pushed a lot of correct buttons in their series win over Edmonton. And special teams, it's a draw. Chicago's power play sputtered at 28th in the NHL during the regular season, but the Golden Knights penalty kill clicked at just 76.6% and still was not any great shakes in the round robin. The Vegas power play ranked 9th in the regular season, but Chicago no doubt breathing a sigh of relief that these aren't the Oilers on the main advantage after killing just 70.6% of the power plays in the first round. Vegas wins the series. I think it's going to be a 4-game sweep. They're already up 2-0. The Blackhawks are now playing like a team that can roll 4 lines and execute the 200-foot game. If Lehner plays the majority of these games for Vegas, it's an even wider gap between the two teams. And Vegas won earlier today in Game 2. They beat the Blackhawks 4-3 in overtime. They're up 2-0. No reason why they can't sweep. So Vegas in a sweep. So nothing more to say. MF. To me, this is the most compelling of the first round matchups in the West, but it might be an open and shut series, especially after Vegas went up 2-0.
Yeah, it definitely could be. Chicago just doesn't. They look like they're just out of place. They look old. They look like this isn't the same team from years ago. Even though you still got Toews, you got Patrick Kane, you got all these guys who's won the Stanley Cup, but Anthony, Chicago looks like a shell of themselves. I don't even know how on earth they got into the Stanley Cup playoff in the first place. It's just one of those type of situations. There's really nothing more to say. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. And yeah, and I'm with you. I got Vegas advancing, and I could say in at least 5 or 6. So nothing more to add. Anthony, it's yours.
All right, the next matchup in the West, the number 2 seed, the Colorado Avalanche, squaring off against the number 11 seed, now bumped up to 7, the Arizona Coyotes, making their first Stanley Cup playoff appearance since going all the way to the Western Conference Finals in 2012. So So, MF, we got a nice young team in Arizona, but a lot of us, including me, are very high on the Colorado Avalanche. Who knows? This team could be the favorite to represent the West in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Colorado has a chance to really make a name for themselves in the Stanley Cup playoff. There's no doubt in my mind. And a lot of people are believing that right now, that they could be, you know, in the opportunity for them to play for the Stanley Cup and the whole 9 yards. So yeah, I totally agree with that. I totally believe that. I'm gonna go with Colorado as well to win the series, and I think they're gonna get the job done. Nathan McKibben right now could become a superstar in the Stanley Cup playoffs. There's no doubt about it. The way I see it, I think they're going to win it, and I got Colorado advancing to the next round of the playoffs. There's really nothing more to say. So, yes, I got Colorado winning. Anthony, I got them winning in at least 6 games.
Agreed. The Avalanche are a team to be reckoned with in this tournament. They went 2-0-1 in the round robin, posting a 1.67 goals against average. They held the possession advantage in each game, allowing 37.7 shots on goal while allowing 28.3. The Coyotes outlasted the Nashville Predators in 4 games with a surprising amount of offense, 3.5 goals a game, and an unexpectedly excellent performance from their goaltender, Darcy Kemper, who followed up a dominant regular season with a .933 save percentage on an NHL high 163 shots in the qualification round. It was the first time Arizona had advanced in the postseason since 2012, and the Coyotes did so after being rocked by the resignation of GM John Chayka on the eve of their bubble life. Colorado has the advantage in the first line. When necessary, the Avs can put together one of the most effective lines of the last 3 seasons, with Nathan MacKinnon centering Gabriel Landeskog and Mikko Rantanen. But coach Jared Bednar prefers to play Landeskog on his own line. Vladislav Namestnikov has most recently played up with MacKinnon and Rantanen, although Andrei Burakovsky has skated with them as well. The Coyotes' top line featured Christian Dvorak with the team's 2 biggest offensive stars in Phil Kessel and Taylor Hall, who each had 4 points in 4 qualification round games. They got rolled in possession, but averaged 3.88 goals per 60 minutes against Nashville. Colorado again has advantage in forwards. This is the first time in months that the team GM Joe Sakic put together last summer has been completely healthy. The Avs' second line of Nazem Kadri with Landeskog and Valery Nichushkin was a possession monster in the round robin. Burakovsky can play throughout the lineup and was skating with center JT Compher and winger Jonas Donskoy. Matt Calvert and Pierre-Edouard Bellemare are an effective checking duo regardless of who else is on the line. The Coyotes' second scoring line features Clayton Keller, 2 goals in the qualification round, Connor Garland and Derek Stepan. Carl Soderberg has skated with Christian Fischer and Lawson Cruz, while Brad Richardson and Michael Grabner are effective down the lineup. They had 2 qualification round goals. It's a draw when it comes to defense. Cale Macker, a finalist for the Calder Trophy as Rookie of the Year, is one of the most explosive offensive players in the series. Ryan Graves, plus 40 in the regular season, is his steady partner. Eric Johnson and Samuel Girard were the best possession duo on the team in the round robin. Ian Cole is the third pairing puck mover, skating with Nikita Zadorov. For the Coyotes, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, 4 points and an outstanding series against Nashville, and is paired with Jason Demers, Alex Galagowski, Nicholas Hjalmarsson, Jacob Chychrun, and Jordan Osterley. Fill out an underrated group. Goaltending, I got to give that to Arizona. It's a meeting of 2 of the best goalie tandems in the league if healthy. Philip Grubauer and Pavel Francouz of the Avalanche helped the team to a 2.71 goals against in the regular season. Darcy Kemper and Antti Raanta, the latter of whom was injured in the Nashville series, helped the Coyotes to a 2.61 goals against. But I have to give Arizona the nod here because of the way Kemper played in the qualification round, stealing the series. Darcy kept us in. That's the facts. They were peppering us. He let us get our legs under us. Coach Rick Tocchet said, can he do it again? Coaching, I got to say it's a draw. Jared Bednar has won championships in the ECHL and AHL and is looking for his first title as an NHL coach. He has a good handle on this roster and did an underrated job in keeping the Avs on track through their injuries this season. Arizona's Rick Tocchet has a reputation as a player's coach rather than a tactician, but that ignores the impressive defense he's had the Coyotes playing for multiple seasons. He also knew exactly what buttons to push when the going got rough in the Nashville series. Special teams, Colorado gets that advantage. In the regular season, the Coyotes 19.2% and Avalanche 19.1% were virtually tied in power play effectiveness. But Arizona was only 2 for 12 in the qualification round, while Colorado was 4 of 16. However, the Coyotes are the superior team on the penalty kill, 82.7%, ranking 5th in the regular season. Colorado wins in 6. MF nailed it. He got it right. Solving Darcy Kemper will not be easy, and he should be able to steal a couple games, but the Avalanche don't give up much defensively either. Both teams have their offensive standouts. We're all here for the McKinnon and Hall showdown. But in the end, the Avalanche have just a bit more depth to take the series in advance. So, Colorado in 6. You got it, MF. You're right. Number 3 seed, the Dallas Stars, squaring off against the number 8 overall seed, now bumped up to 6, the Calgary Flames. The Flames made quick work of a severely undermanned Winnipeg Jets team, which was missing stars Mark Scheifele and Patrick Laine when they were eliminated in Game 4. Dallas went 1-2-0 in the round robin, but the Stars' last game, a shootout win over St. Louis, was the kind of low-event game they can win with their defense and goaltending. Calgary, I give Calgary the edge in the first line. The Stars have tried everything to get Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin to up their production this season. Although Seguin was out of the lineup toward the end of the round robin, he should be good to go against Calgary, although a reunion with Alexander Radulov is never out of the question. The best trio could be with Root Pintz in the middle. Flames have 2 lines that could be considered their first, and they couldn't be more different. Sean Monahan centering Elias Lindholm and Johnny Gaudreau, and the trio of Andrew Mangiapane, Matthew Tkachuk, and Michael Backlund, which was their best line in the regular season in the first round. I'll consider the 3M line 2.0 the Flames' top 1, and I'll give them the nod. Forward depth, I got to say that's even. Beyond those top 2 lines, the Flames got a surprisingly strong series from Milan Lucic, Dylan Dubé, and Sam Bennett. 63% expected goals percentage. And they have a 4th line of Derek Ryan, Mark Jankowski, and Tobias Ryder, who scored his first playoff goal and 5th goal in 2 seasons against the Jets. The Stars can toss some line salad from time to time, but Andrew Cogliano, Blake Como, and Radek Faksa are a solid defensive line that has carried over from the regular season. Radulov has skated with Joel Pavelski and Matthias Janmark, and Corey Perry saw time with the explosive Dennis Gurianov and Jason Dickinson during the round robin. Keep an eye on Pavelski, a proven playoff performer who was acquired from moments such as this. Defensively, I got to give that to Dallas. Even without Travis Hamonic, who opted out of the restart because of COVID-19 concerns, the Flames have a strong blue line. Mark Giordano and TJ Brody remain of the NHL's most dependable duos. Noah Hannafin saw most of his time against the Jets skating with Rasmus Andersson, Derek Forbort, and Eric Gustafsson, both acquired at the trade deadline, made for a surprisingly efficient duo. If the best defenseman in the series is not Giordano, it's Miro Heiskanen of the Stars, the brilliant 21-year-old who skates with Jamie Oleksiak, Esa Lindell, and John Klingberg, are like the Brody pairing for Calgary, a proven commodity. Andre Sekera and Steven Johns played together in the round robin and are still trying to gel. Goaltending advantage Dallas. Dallas had the second best goals against average in the regular season thanks to Ben Bishop and Anton Khudobin, one of the league's best goaltending batteries. Either one could play in the series and they'd be fine, though Bishop's .927 save percentage is stout. Cam Talbot was stellar in the qualification round with a .945 save percentage and a .151 goals against, but that was against a popless Jets lineup. Coach Dave Rittich is rested. Well, Dave Rittich, the backup, is rested and ready if necessary, but it's a heavy advantage for Dallas. Coaching, even. It's amazing how some of the storylines of the season have converged in the quarterfinal. For example, we have 2 longtime assistants who replaced their predecessors this season because of off-ice issues. Rick Bowness of the Stars got the bench after the Stars fired Jim Montgomery in December for unprofessional conduct, which Montgomery later confirmed was alcohol abuse. Jeff Ward was named head coach in November after Bill Peters resigned because of allegations of abuse and racist language used in previous coaching jobs. Both have plenty of experience, though only Bowness has been a head coach in the playoffs. That was all the way back in 1992. Special teams, I give that to Calgary. While the teams were in a dead heat on the power play, the Flames had a 21.2% conversion rate, 0.1 better than that of the Stars. Calgary had the 8th best penalty kill in the regular season. Dallas was 17th. Dallas wins in 7. Get ready for 7 games of closely played, low-event hockey. In the end, the Stars will force it to a winner-go-home game, and their veterans, including their goaltender, will come through. Dallas wins in 7. MF, what says you? A lot of storylines here.
A lot of storylines, no doubt about it, but I'm in full agreement. I think Dallas wins the series. They'll win this in 7. And let's move on to the final series of the first round.
Okay, and that will feature your reigning, defending, undisputed Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues, the number 4 seed, squaring off against the number 7 overall seed, bumped up to 5 now, the Vancouver Canucks. Canucks winning game 1 last night. MF, are the champs in trouble?
No, I kind of feel like that was just a bad night. A bad night in the office for St. Louis. I think they're going to turn it around. Jordan Binnington, it was the bright spot of this team. And the thing is that they don't have all their horses yet. I don't think they're fully healthy. There's been some key injuries along the way, but I just don't see how Vancouver can hang with the defending world champion. So no, I'm sorry, I disagree. I do believe St. Louis will turn it around. This is going to be a hard-fought series. I think it could go the distance, but I do got the Blues going through to the next round of the playoffs. So St. Louis in 7. Anthony, it's yours.
Man, I was confident about St. Louis, but I did not like what I saw in game 1, so I might have to rethink this. What we learned in the qualification round, the Canucks' young core of stars, many playing their first playoff games, had its bar mitzvah in the qualification round, as Vancouver eliminated the defensively stingy Minnesota Wild in 4 games. The defending Stanley Cup champions, meanwhile, sleepwalked through the round robin with an 0-2-1 record. That's another factor. Uncharacteristically poor possession numbers and an alarming trend of getting outplayed in the third period, having been outscored 6-0. Can the Blues flip the switch for the games that matter? First line, I got to give that edge to Vancouver. The Blues have a couple of choices here, but I'll go with the trio that saw the most time together this season. Ryan O'Reilly centering David Perron and Zach Sanford. You know what you're getting out of O'Reilly, who had 61 points in 71 games to lead the Blues. Perron is a streaky goal scorer, while Sanford is a big body in the offensive zone. The Canucks' top line became a dominant one when Vancouver acquired JT Miller last summer and paired him with Brock Boeser and Elias Pettersson. The Canucks had a 57.4% expected goals rate in the series against the Wild after posting a 57.89% expected goals rate at 5-on-5 in the regular season. They're a force, and that's why I give the edge to Vancouver. Forward depth, I go with St. Louis. Vancouver's second line is anchored by another member of the young core in Bo Horvat. He's skating with Tanner Pearson and Louis Eriksson, who in the span of a decade has gone from underrated to overrated, back to underrated, and is now somehow both an object of ridicule and someone for whom fans root. Down the lineup are Antoine Roussel, Brandon Sutter, Jake Virtanen, Jay Beagle, and Tyler Motte. Michael Farrelland, who returned after a long layoff to start last series, is quote-unquote unfit to play to start this one. The Blues, meanwhile, roll 4 lines with many familiar names from their cup run. Braden Shen centers a second line with Jaden Schwartz and a returning Vladimir Tarasenko, who is still getting the rust off from his months-long shoulder injury rehab. Robert Thomas, Tyler Bozak, Alexander Steen, Troy Brouwer, and Oscar Sundqvist fill out the lineup. Ivan Barbashev is away on paternity leave, while Sammy Blais might be injured to start this round. Defense, that goes to St. Louis. Alex Pietrangelo, the Blues captain, could have easily been a Norris Trophy finalist this season. He skates with Carl Gunnarsson, while Colton Parayko has seen time with trade deadline pickup Marco Scandella. Justin Falk and Vince Dunn were an effective duo during the round robin. For the Canucks, the most fascinating name is Quinn Hughes, who skated 24 minutes and 11 seconds a game and played with both Chris Tanev and Tyler Myers at times. But he's been protected. A whopping 90.5% of Hughes' shifts have started in the offensive zone. Alexander Edler has seen time with Tenoff and Troy Stetcher, while Oscar Fontenberg is also in the mix. Goaltending, I got to say it's even. Jordan Binnington was a star last postseason, providing the backbone for the Blues as an unflappable rookie all the way through their Game 7 win on the road in Boston for the Stanley Cup. But while he was good in the regular season, he wasn't dominating. With just 3.25 goals saved above average, Jacob Markstrom had 11.56 goals saved above average, and the Canucks were relying on him as the last line of defense for a team that didn't always play a lot of it. He was stellar in the qualification round series win with a .926 save percentage. Jake Allen of the Blues and Thatcher Demko of the Canucks are capable backups. Coaching, I got to say that's another tie. Blues fans better hope Craig Berube continues to have his finger on the pulse of this team and can get St. Louis into another gear as the real playoffs begin. Travis Green has been one of the NHL's most underrated coaches for a while and did a masterful job in getting his team to break through against a very good Minnesota defense for his first series win in the NHL. Special teams at the tie. Canucks won the special teams battle with Minnesota and will have to do the same against a Blues team that might be better than them at 5-on-5. Vancouver's power play was right behind St. Louis in fourth place in the regular season, while the Canucks' penalty kill, 16th, ranked right above the Blues. And based on what I saw in the qualification round, I mean, especially with how horrible St. Louis looked in the round robin, I was very disappointed with their performance in the round robin. Equally disappointed in game one. I know they can easily bounce back. I would not be surprised if they won this series. I wouldn't. But I'm going to call for another upset here. I'm going to go with the Vancouver Canucks to steal this thing in 6 games. It's entirely possible the Blues don't carry a single difficulty they had in the round robin into this round against Vancouver. But it's absolutely certain Vancouver will carry its confidence from its qualification round win in this series. It was a crucial proof of concept series victory for a team learning how to win. With their speed and goaltending, I think the Canucks can pull the upset here over the defending champs. But if St. Louis wins, I, honest to God, would not be surprised. I wouldn't. Especially after last year. So there you have it. That's the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And by the way, Carolina has just taken the lead. Carolina has a 3-2 lead in the third period. So 10:36 to go. And coming up in a little while, Calgary and Dallas will be getting underway. So there you have that. Now let's get into the NBA playoffs. Now, we do need to address one elephant in the room here. Let me see here. Hot off the presses, I do have the schedule. For the NBA playoffs, and they're actually going to get underway on Monday, August the 17th. So I'll send you the first round schedule, MF, for the daily.
I got it.
Oh, you have it. Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. So so with all that being said, let's dive on in. Just give me a moment here. Okay. So here we go. Here are the matchups in no particular order, mind you. So here you go. In the Eastern Conference, we will see the number 1 seed, which is the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks are going to be the number 1 seed. They're going to be going up against the number 8 seed, the Orlando Magic. In the 2-7 matchup, we will see the Toronto Raptors against the Brooklyn Nets. 3 seed, the Boston Celtics against the 6 seed, Philadelphia 76ers. And in a very intriguing 4-5 matchup, the Miami Heat against the Indiana Pacers. Now, as far as the West is concerned, it's waiting for this to load here. The LA Lakers. The LA Lakers are the number 1 seed, and they're going to be squaring off against the play-in winner. Now, MF, do we have the 8 seed yet? Has that been determined?
It has not been determined. However, there is a game going on at this hour that's very important, which is between the Portland Trail Blazers and the Indiana and the Brooklyn Nets, because of the fact that if Portland wins, they will go on to play the Memphis Grizzlies, who is the number 8 seed. So basically, here's how it goes down. They will be playing tomorrow. This game will be played on Saturday. If Memphis wins, they automatically go into the playoff and play the LA Lakers. If Portland wins, then what happens is it's basically a double elit. So Portland would have to win twice over the Memphis Grizzlies to play the Lakers in the first round. If Memphis wins, they automatically play the Lakers, and it will be Memphis versus LA Lakers in round one. So right now the Lakers are still waiting to see who they play, but this is a very important game because if Portland loses, then Phoenix goes and they go into the play-in series against Memphis. If Portland wins, then they go and play in the play-in series, and it's a back-to-back games, which will be on Saturday and Sunday. But here's the thing. If Memphis wins one of the two games, they automatically play the Lakers. For Portland or for Phoenix to go through, they have to win both games.
Okay. So, but anywho, either Portland, Memphis, or Phoenix will be the 8th seed, and they will square off against the Lakers.
That is correct.
And I believe the Oklahoma City Thunder is the 4, and Houston's the 5.
That is correct. Yup.
Okay. So then I do know for a fact the Denver Nuggets are the 3, and they're going to be squaring off against the number 6 seed Utah Jazz.
Yup.
And in the 2-7, the number 2 seed is the Los Angeles Clippers, and they're going to be squaring off against the Dallas Mavericks.
That is correct.
So those are the matchups. So now we're going to reset here, and you know what? We'll do it just like we did with the last, just like we did for the Stanley Cup there. So let's get into the first round series, which will be the Milwaukee Bucks, and they're going to be squaring off against the Orlando Magic. All right. Sitting at 8 games under 500, Orlando is among the worst teams to make the playoffs in recent history. Playing in their home city without fans in attendance is not going to change the end result, as the Magic take on the top seed in the East. Sure, Milwaukee has lost 7 of 10 dating back to when the season was suspended on March 11, but this team is just too good to even consider an upset. NBA MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo will be rested after receiving a 1-game suspension. Chris Middleton has a plus level matchup against Orlando, and it will result in a lopsided 4-game sweep for Milwaukee. So I got the Bucks in an easy 4-game sweep. There's absolutely no ifs, ands, or buts about this one. So give me the Bucks in a straight up 4-game sweep. MF, what says you?
Milwaukee is just a far superior team. They've just been dominating without a doubt. I got Milwaukee in a 4-0 sweep as well.
All right. So, MF, let's get your thoughts on the 2-7 matchup. The Toronto Raptors, your reigning, defending, undisputed NBA champions, against the Brooklyn Nets.
This is another one of those easy calls. There's no guy. Brooklyn has no weapons whatsoever. Toronto does have all their weapons back. With Siakam, with Lowry, with all them guys. I might be generous and give the Nets 1 game, but I could see this being another 4-0 sweep to at least 5 games, but it won't go beyond that. The Toronto Raptors will flex their muscle and will easily move on to the next round of the playoffs.
Agreed. We have to give the Brooklyn Nets credit for their performance in Orlando thus far. Now keep in mind, they were down 3/5 of their starting 5 even before the season resumed. The Nets won 5 of their first 7 at Walt Disney World. It's a testament to the performance of interim head coach Jacques Vaughn. Even then, there's absolutely no reason to believe that a team relying on Justin Anderson, Dezanin Musa, and Dante Hall for substantial minutes can compete with the defending champion Toronto Raptors. This is the most lopsided first-round matchup. Fred VanVleet has taken his game to a whole new level. Toronto has not missed a beat following the department's MVP Kawhi Leonard. Look for a 4-game sweep here. So Toronto in 4. I agree, MF. Now, these next 2 matchups are both very appetizing. Let's not kid ourselves. Number 3 seed, the Boston Celtics, squaring off against the number 6 seed Philadelphia 76ers. Given how erratic they have been throughout the season, it was hard to believe that the Sixers had much of a chance in the Eastern Conference once the season resumed. Now that Ben Simmons is out for the season with a knee injury, that's magnified even further. Who will Philadelphia be able to rely on behind Joel Embiid on offense? Is he going to be enough to take out the Celtics? Don't bank on it. Boston boasts one of the best young players in the game in that of Jason Tatum. Fellow wing Jaylen Brown is morphing into a star. The team is well coached with the recently extended Brad Stevens manning the bench. Look for these Celtics to take out Philadelphia in 5, potentially leading to an off-season of change in the city of brotherly love. So I'm going to go with Boston in 5. MF, that Simmons injury is going to be way too much for Philly to overcome.
Yeah, even going into the series, there was some turmoil and some problems with Philly. They were not a cohesive unit at all. There was some drama and some trouble between Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. There was some questions about even the leadership of Ben Simmons getting called out even before the league had to shut down because of the virus. So no, without a doubt, Boston should win this one and win this pretty handily in 5 games. So no, Anthony, it's all yours.
All right, and MF, well, that series not as appetizing as I thought. So
no, it's not.
But this one, from a lot of the reviews and previews I've read, I hear there's a lot of excitement for this series. Number 4 seed Miami Heat, number 5 Indiana Pacers. A lot of folks are calling this perhaps the most intriguing first-round matchup. Why is that?
Because of the fact it's 2 converging styles. With the Indiana Pacers, you got Victor Oladipo, but you also got some other great weapons. Then you also got Miami Heat. You got Tyler Hero. You have Jimmy Butler. You got some key weapons in here. This will easily go 7 games. This is a 7-game series guaranteed. At the end of the day, I'm gonna go with Miami. I think Miami just have enough horses. Tyler Hero's gonna have a big game, big series. So will Jimmy Butler. I think Indiana will keep it close in some games. They might even steal a couple of them in Orlando. But I got Miami winning the series. This is the most intriguing series in the entire Eastern Conference. This is the one that everybody's gonna have their eyes on. So 4 o'clock on Friday. Can't come soon enough. That is going to be a great matchup. So, nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Set to take on a surprising Miami Heat team in the first round. Indiana does not find itself in the best of positions. Star guard Victor Oladipo has not been himself since ultimately deciding to resume the season with his team. The veteran is averaging just 16 points on 46% shooting from the field in 5 games at Walt Disney World. One of the leading scorers in Orlando, T.J. Warren, is dealing with plantar fasciitis in his foot. On the other side sits a Heat team that was among the most surprising in the NBA prior to the season being suspended. Riding rookies Tyler Hero and Kendrick Nunn, this squad is a hard out. The emergence of all-star big man Bam Adebayo and the presence of Jimmy Butler adds to that. Look for Miami to take out Indiana at the very worst 6. But after what MF just said, I might have to, consider. I might have to make that a 7 as well. But I wouldn't be surprised if it goes, if it ends in 6. You never know. So, so that is that for the East. Now let's get into the West now. So MF, we're gonna be starting off. I mean, let's be realistic. It doesn't really matter who comes out of that number 8 seed. It doesn't matter who it is. They're not going to beat the Lakers. No way.
Oh, wait a minute, Florio. Hold on. Okay, here's what I'll say. If it's Memphis, no doubt about it, Lakers go through easily. If it's Portland, though, Portland's got some horses that could actually give Lakers some trouble. Matchup-wise, and plus on top of that, if everybody remember the game when the Lakers fought the Blazers. That was the game, that was the first game back after Kobe Bryant had passed away. And the Blazers took it to the Lakers and stole the game because of the fact that it was Dame time. Damian Lillard dropped a 50 on the Lakers with CJ McCollum, with Dame, with Carmelo Anthony. This could be trouble for the Lakers. They can't match up with them. Point guard wise, offensively wise, they can't. And if you want to talk about hottest teams in the bubble right now, let's talk about the Phoenix Suns, who's undefeated. They have not lost the game in the bubble. So, no, I disagree with you, Anthony. Yes, I think the Lakers will go through, but if it's Memphis, they're going to finish them in 5. If it's the Blazers or if it's Phoenix or Portland, no. They're going to have a fight on their hands. And it's going to be an unwanted fight. As a matter of fact, even the experts are saying the Lakers do not want to see the Blazers. They don't want to see the Blazers because the Blazers are a team that could actually knock them out. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah. I'm going to have to rethink that. So, if it's Memphis, I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, it will be the Lakers, no doubt about it. But Portland or Phoenix will definitely give the Lakers some major fits. But I still think it's got to be the Lakers, though. I mean, I still do. So that's really all I can say on that. Now let's get into the 2-7 matchup, which will feature the Los Angeles Clippers squaring off against the Dallas Mavericks, and looking at this, I mean, I'll tell you what, I mean, Kawhi Leonard, after leading Toronto to a championship last season, Kawhi Leonard looks to do it again with LA, which features Luka Doncic and Dallas. So, I gotta say, I gotta go with the Clippers here. I mean, I mean, Leonard alone is the reason for this, and I mean, especially after the big run he had with Toronto a season ago, leading them to the title and everything else. I mean. Hold on here. I'm just trying to find my notes here. I had them up a moment ago, but they went down. So, but anyways, there is one key storyline that we need to factor in here. That storyline being, what does Luka Doncic have in store in his first postseason, and what a season it's been for him. He's not a finalist for MVP, but he proved to be a legitimate MVP candidate in only his second season and leading the Mavericks to the number 7 seed in the West, averaging 29 points, 9.5 rebounds, and 9 assists a game. Only 2 players have ever posted those numbers before: Russell Westbrook when he was MVP in 2016 and 17, and Oscar Robertson, who did it 3 times in the early 60s. And while he's only 21, Doncic seems to do something historic every time he takes the court. He leads the league with 17 triple-doubles and isn't far removed from becoming the youngest player in NBA history to record a 30-20-10 game. That was against Sacramento. 34 points, 20 rebounds, 12 assists. Youngest player in NBA history to have that sort of game. The 3 players to watch, obviously Luka Doncic will be one. Kristaps Porzingis. I mean, it's going to be his playoff debut. Not quite as much pressure on Porzingis as there is on Doncic, but the Mavs will need him to play well to have any chance against the Clippers. And a good sign for Dallas is Porzingis has been one of the breakout stars of the bubble, scoring 30 or more points in 3 of Dallas's games, including a 36-point outing against Portland in which he went 7 for 9 from 3-point range. Of course, Kawhi Leonard. We all saw what Leonard did in the playoffs last season, leading the Toronto Raptors to their first ever NBA championship. Is this the start of another historic run? While he was not a finalist for MVP either, Leonard was fantastic in the regular season, averaging career highs of 27.1 points and 5 assists to go along with 7 rebounds a game. Mavs didn't have much of an answer for him in their head-to-head matchups, with Dorian Finney-Smith drawing the tough task of trying to slow him down. Should Leonard lead the Clippers to a championship and win Finals MVP this season, he'll become the first player in NBA history to win the award on 3 different teams. He'll have to get through 4 different teams to get there, starting with the Mavs. And finally, Luka Doncic. The reasons why are clear. There simply aren't many more players who are more exciting to watch in the league right now. Fingers crossed we get more between the league's assists. And an honorable mention, of course, Paul George. The Clippers will need him to be the Robin, the Leonard's Batman, to win it all this season. This just might not be the series they need him to be at his very best to advance. Clippers win. I would probably say give it about 6 or 7. So I'll give it maybe 6. I think Doncic can steal a couple of games, but I think the Clippers are the far better team, especially because of Leonard. So Clippers in 6, MF, what says you?
Yeah, I agree. Clippers in 6. I think they're gonna get the job done. Luka Doncic is really gonna stir the Hornets' nest, and he's gonna give the Clippers a lot of fits. But at the end of the day, the bench is just too deep. The team is just too deep. Not only that, but you also got Paul George. You got a lot of key weapons there. Yeah, no, this I think the Clippers are going to win the series. So nothing more to say, Anthony. Next series.
And we're going to look, and we will look into the series now between the number 3 seed, the Denver Nuggets, and they're going to be squaring off against the number 6 seed Utah Jazz. And MF. Last Saturday, these two teams battled to a 5-star classic, with the Nuggets winning 134-132 in double overtime.
Yeah,
you think that game was good? What are these games going to bring?
They're going to bring 7 games. This is a 7-game series guaranteed. And I know a lot of people's been on Utah because Utah was kind of the team that started the whole problem with the NBA after what happened a few months ago. They were the team that shut the league down. So, I mean, after all that happened, Denver is a team right now that a lot of people thought that was a dark horse that could win the NBA title. And then, you had Utah there that had a really good offseason and everything was going fine. But then Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, they started having issues. So now we don't know where that's going to go. The chemistry is there, but Denver is a complete team, Anthony. Denver is absolutely a complete team in my mind. And the way that they've been playing, when, as far as, 47% from the field, their 3-pointers, not so great. I mean, they're kind of more on the low end. But the thing is, they got a lot of offensive rebounding. Their assist is really good. When it comes to their assists as a team, they're near the top of the NBA. And you got some monster players, guys, when you talk about this team. So at the end of the day, I too believe Denver will get the job done. They've been struggling lately. I'm not gonna discredit it. They have been struggling, but I think they'll get the job done. So for me, I got Denver winning, and they're gonna win in 7 games. So Anthony, it's yours.
And I have to report a final here. The Carolina Hurricanes have defeated the Boston Bruins 3-2. So that series is now tied at 1 game apiece. So we are now waiting on Michael Bullock, and if he shows up before we go off the air, then we will, as a special bonus on this edition of Strictly Sports, we will have the Bruins beat, and MF will navigate that. So, but anywho, let me get into my thoughts on this. The Nuggets, they swept the season series with the Jazz despite all 3 games being close. And do the Jazz have the best answer to neutralize Nikola Jokic? Let me see. All right. Nuggets swept the series. Each game was close. Denver won the 3 games by a combined 11 points. And we all know that. All right. Now let's get into the good stuff here. The key storyline, of course, is Rudy Gobert. Can he slow down Nikola Jokic? It's a battle of 2 of the best big men in the league. Gobert is once again a finalist for the Defensive Player of the Year award, and he will be tested by the player he's guarded the most this season. In their 3 matchups, Gobert has guarded Jokic for 105 partial possessions. allowing him to shoot 48.9% from the field, according to NBA stats. Jazz may take that percentage and consider it a victory if Gobert can replicate that in the postseason. If Gobert can find a way to make life difficult for Jokic offensively and be active enough on the other end so that the Nuggets star can't rest defensively, the Jazz may be able to send the Nuggets back to Denver earlier than they expected. The three players to watch, obviously one of them is Rudy Gobert. No question, his value to this series is on the defensive end of the floor. His ability to quarterback the Jazz defense is invaluable, but his offense will be equally as important. When Gobert has been on the floor this season, the Jazz are scoring 7 points more per 100 possessions this season. His impact offensively has been second only to Bojan Bogdanovic's, who's out for the year with a wrist injury. Without Bogdanovic in the lineup, the Jazz will be even more reliant on Gobert's screens to create offense. The Frenchman led the NBA in screen assist points per game at 16 this season. Not only is the pick and roll a vital part of the Utah offense, but it will also force Jokic to guard more ball screens than he wants to. Another player to look at is Jamal Murray. Nuggets will only go as far as Nikola Jokic can carry them. But the difference in the Nuggets being able to contend for a title this year or in the future depends on Jamal Murray. He's got all the talent in the world, and we've seen him perform on the biggest of stages. But we've also seen him have subpar games in big moments. If Denver makes any noise this postseason, it will be because Jamal Murray produces consistently. Go back and look at his numbers from last year. Nuggets won when Murray played and shot well from the field, and when he didn't, they lost. It's simple. Will he have bad games? Sure. It's part of the development process. But let's not forget he's 23 years old. But the quicker he can become a more consistent talent, the quicker the Nuggets can start chasing rings. And the final player, Donovan Mitchell, getting set to enter his third playoff run in 3 years. Last year's run was one he wants to forget. As he struggled to find his touch from the field, shooting 32% overall and 25.6% from three. If we know anything about Mitchell this early in his career, it's that he's a rhythm player. He can reel off a stretch of games where he looks like he's about to break through, as he did in the first quarter of the season. Or he can get into a massive slump, as he did in March, which was carried over to the bubble. With games being played every other day in the playoffs, the first two games of this series will be crucial for Mitchell. If he can find his rhythm, the Jazz may be able to ride his hot hand in the next round. If he can't, they'll likely be heading back to Salt Lake City before long. I got Denver winning. I think Denver wins in 6. That's how I feel. So our final first round series in the West, and this is another very appetizing matchup to say the very least. It will be the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they're going to be squaring off against the Houston Rockets. Rockets, they will, however, be without Russell Westbrook for the start of the playoffs. That might change their outlook for the first round matchup. And okay, the three players to watch. Well, the key storyline: how long can Houston last without Russell Westbrook? It's without a doubt the biggest storyline of this series, and maybe the biggest storyline of the playoffs. Rockets have pulled the trigger on one of the most unorthodox offensive schemes we've ever seen, but the success of said scheme rides on the health of Westbrook. He's been sidelined with a quad strain since Houston's August 4th loss to Portland. He'll miss at least the start of the series, and his return is dependent on how he responds to his daily treatment. There's no turning back now. Houston is all in on microball. If they're able to get off to a quick start against the Thunder, it will certainly buy Westbrook more time to recover. But if they fall down 2-0 early, there may be pressure to rush the former MVP back. Three players to watch, of course, Russell Westbrook. The quad injury will keep him out of the start of the playoffs. But if he's able to come back and be the player he was for Houston right before the shutdown, then the Rockets may be able to get back into the title discussion. Without Westbrook, Houston has a tough road ahead. James Harden has done everything you'd want of a player worthy of the Hall of Fame, but it's time to start winning and winning big in the playoffs. Harden's regular seasons have been historic, but his playoff runs have left a lot to be desired. Now with Westbrook sidelined, at least for the start of the playoffs, the load is once again squarely on Harden's shoulders. Can he rise to the occasion, or will this go down as another failure? Playoff failure, that is. And Chris Paul. It's not many times that you get a chance at revenge in sports. Chris Paul has that chance. The Rockets blindsided Paul with a trade last summer, sending him to OKC. It was a prove-it year for CP3, who had many doubters, and he got back to not only All-Star, but All-NBA status. This isn't about numbers or stats anymore. It's about who gets the 4 wins first. If Paul can do that before the Rockets do, they'll have the last laugh. It just depends on Westbrook's status. I mean, that injury really makes me think. I mean, Houston could still win in 6 or 7, but because of the Westbrook injury and the uncertainty of it, for now, I'm going to go with Oklahoma City in 6. MF, wrap it up.
I'm actually going to go with Oklahoma City as well. I think with James Harden is a great player and no doubt about it, and they got a deep team, but I just don't see it happening either. So no, I think I totally agree with what you just said there. Nothing more to add. I got OKC winning this, and I think they're going to win it in 7. So Anthony, it's yours.
All right, and that will well, we don't have Michael Bullock here, so we're just gonna put a bow on this for now. MF, you'll have to wait till Bullock is ready to come in, and then
That's fine.
You can do the Bruins beat over on your channel, and we'll definitely be watching for that. So coming up, hopefully sometime later tonight, we'll have the Bruins beat over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95. MF will host that with Michael Bullock as they will recap Game 2 of the Bruins' first round series with the Carolina Hurricanes, which Carolina won 3-2 tonight. So you two will get into that, and then tomorrow night, MF, you're not done, because no rest for the weary for you, because you'll be back at it with the Cerebral Smack Talk over on your channel, Brace Fan 95 at 10:30 tomorrow night. We'll review Friday Night SmackDown, of course, the big match we're all looking forward to, that tri-branded Battle Royale with the winner challenging Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship at SummerSlam, and then all the other developments. So, MF, are you going to have a Mikey's mindset or not?
No.
No. All right. So we'll just be reviewing Friday Night SmackDown tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. And then after that, we got Bruins beats around the we got a lot of Bruin beats coming up. And then, of course, next week is SummerSlam week. Started off with Ridiculously Raw on Monday night and review Raw's Go Home show. Then we'll get into Tony's take on 205 Live and Impact Wrestling. And then Wednesday Night Mayhem is only going to be a one show. Now, MF, how are we going to do? Are we just going to do that, just that NXT review on Wednesday night?
Yeah, we're going to do the NXT review on Wednesday night. Then on Friday night, not only do we got a loaded show on that one. We got we have the SmackDown Live. We got the preview of NXT. We got the preview of SummerSlam. So we got that. On Saturday, we'll do a special on Saturday at 10 o'clock, and we'll do the AEW review then. And then Sunday, SummerSlam review.
And TakeOver 30 will be pushed back to the Wednesday night show.
We could kill two birds with one stone on that night. Yeah, we could. Why not? Let's kill two birds with one stone. AEW. Well, since AEW wants to be on Saturday night, all right, then we'll do that. AEW and NXT 30.
Cool. So that'll
Saturday night.
Saturday the 22nd at 10 p.m.
Yep.
Yeah, or immediately following TakeOver 30. And
well, no, it's going to be at 10 p.m.
Yeah, because it should be done by then.
Yeah.
And then Sunday the 23rd will obviously be our sole recap of SummerSlam, and then go from there. So
yep.
So there you have it. So hope you got all that written down, because we're not going through that again. So all right. So that will do it for this. So stay tuned. Sometime later on, MF will let you all know. As soon as we get Michael Bullock, then we'll go over to Race Fan 95 and check out MF and Bullock with the latest installment of the Bruins Beat, and then we'll go from there. So until then, for good old MF Michael Fletcher, I'm Anthony Florio saying, the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up, Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until later on for the Bruins Beat and tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF, you've been watching this very special edition of Strictly Sports, our first round previews of the Stanley Cup and NBA playoffs right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. And we'll see you tomorrow night. Bye for now, my friends.